Hello, everyone. The one called Fate knocks at your door. It's Hunt back with another episode of Tabletop Recap. The next few episodes are probably actually going to be D&D based because we're just going to film a bunch in one day and get them out of the way, and I'll schedule them. Yeah, I'm revealing the secrets. I'm getting a glare from someone. She didn't want me to reveal the secrets. But no Big Boy Chungus today. I'm sorry. He will be missed. He had coronavirus and he died. But now we have Karen, the Manager Slayer. Say hi.
Hi.
As well as Kami.
Hi, guys.
Yeah. We got a new setup, so hopefully it sounds good. But today, what's our topic, Karen? You came up with the topics for the next few, so.
Our topic for today, this one, is first time D&Ds.
D&D's nuts.
Yep, that.
I got him. All right, so let's roll for initiative to see who gets to go first. And remember, you can yield your time if you're too nervous. 15.
13.
I yield to Karen.
Oh, I wanted you to go first.
Oh, this was your idea, so I want you to kind of set the tone.
Oh, okay. Well, geez, I feel the pressure now.
I knew you would.
Okay, so,
You've only had like 20 cups of coffee today.
I live on coffee. It cures corona. I wish. Okay, so I guess I will go to my first time D&D story. So, I had some interesting first time D&D stories. The first time I really played D&D was like, it was the most jacked up way ever. And we were just like, guys, let's randomly assign ourselves health. I think I had 5 health. Someone else had 3. It was very silly. We're like, oh, this is D&D.
So not following the rules.
Not following the rules, and it was just like we were learning the rules basically, and whatever. But the first time I really played D&D was with a pretty massive group of people. You're glaring.
I'm listening because I'm a good little boyo.
First time I played D&D was with this massive group though, and everyone of course was like, I want to play the sneaky rogue and kill people and
sneaky boy.
Yeah, exactly. And then someone's
Angsty
like,
edgelord backgrounds.
Very. The other person wanted to play the bard and sleep with everything. Very typical. So my first time playing D&D, I was a human fighter. So as vanilla as you could get. Because, that's what everyone plays. That's their first time. But I was the only person to tank for my team. So I was the only one with health above 20. Yeah, it was kind of sad. So
like reverse Fate.
A little bit, actually.
Because Fate has half the max HP of everyone else.
Basically, you're still playing your first character. Oliver is literally just your first character.
I was just thinking that. Your current character is also... Aren't they also human
generic
fighter?
Human fighter?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the
They
thing.
also carry us, though. Sometimes literally, so...
Put the team on your back.
But, yeah, the first time I played D&D was that my weapons were shotgun gauntlets. Shout out to Ruby, I guess.
That's cool.
Before Ruby was even a thing by 5 years.
No, it was all we had was the yellow trailer. All the trailers came out and then yellow came out. I saw
Good trailers.
Yeah, they were awesome.
I saw that and I'm like, that's so cool. And my GM was super into it too. So he was like, oh my gosh, that should be your weapon. I'm like, can I have that? He's like, yeah, you can. So it was this big...
I burn.
What?
That's
I
the
burn.
song.
Oh, yeah.
Can't hold me down.
Yeah. But,
It'll never stop, I burn. I listen to that song a lot.
Swing all you want. Like a fever, I'll take you down.
gosh. It's
Nerd card on display.
Sorry, continue.
No, it's all good. But it was like this... It was kind of steampunky and stuff, and I don't even remember... Oh yeah, my character's name was Seven, because I couldn't come up with a name, so I spelled 7 with a 7 in the name. I think was the V. I don't know.
Did you just roll a die and whatever number it landed on was your name?
Actually, I think something like that. I don't know why. I was so out of that because our group was literally the stereotypes. It was the bard literally slept with everything the entire time.
Somebody was playing a cat girl sorceress, I bet.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, that was a thing. The sorcerer with
Nani.
the gang. Yeah, Nani. But they were so weak. I mean, you looked at them wrong and their HP would drop to -20 immediately. So, yeah, I had a tank for the group, and it's probably why I'm a terrible player now and can't get into character, and it was just bad. But it was fun. But it was bad.
Every D&D you've ever played with that group since then, you've just had to play either the tank, the healer, or both to accommodate, because they've never really changed, have they?
No. I mean, you know...
I hope they listen to this.
Right? I was just thinking that.
hope
They'll know who they are, too.
Yeah, they will. I mean, the group changed. I mean, like, we had up to, 7 players, not including the GM, so it was a huge group at some point.
Wow. That's too big.
That's way too big. It takes an hour to get around to your turn in combat.
Oh my gosh. And then people were very indecisive. I mean, we were all learning, too. Like, our GM was, really good. He was really knowledgeable, but it was just... Everyone's like, well, what should I do? And then someone would always I'm going to go climb the wall so I can drop the chandelier. And it's that's going to take you 12 turns, but okay. So everyone else was dead except for them.
Why not just shoot at it if you're going to drop it on somebody?
You're asking for logic in a group that had none.
I mean,
It seems like they were missing a little more than just logic.
Well, you were all playing between your senior year of high school and freshman year of college, was this, right?
Right. This was the summer of D&D, where every Saturday during summer, right before I went to college, we had a D&D session, and we would start at 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, whenever our GM got up, because it was at his house. And then we would go until 7 o'clock at night. I mean, it was...
And the age range of your players was pretty broad as well.
Yeah, some of us were in college, some of us were still in high school. I was I think the upper end.
Who was the youngest person in the group? Was it?
I don't remember. I think it was the cat girl. And...
Every time you've said cat girl, I've just rolled my eyes as a reflex.
The best part is, didn't this character incorporate a lot of Japanese phrases and words into their daily
No, that's
speech?
someone else. Oh yeah, we had 2 cat girls. That's it.
Worse. Absolutely worse.
Exponentially worse. It doesn't multiply.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. I feel like I've talked too long about this though, and I feel like I'm slowly killing...
Yeah, it's been 32 minutes.
Oh.
Just kidding. It's been 7.5.
I know that. But yeah, jeez, it was just bad. I mean, some of the greatest jokes came out of it, but also some of the worst things ever came out of that.
Give us an example for both.
Well, the best thing ever was... I can't even remember all of it. It's so
Can't be
great.
better than the one called Fate knocks at your door.
It was less cringy, I bet.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds like a cringy group.
Yeah, okay, the worst thing was, just the sheer amount of, characters, doing dumb stuff. I mean...
Didn't they blow your leg off when you weren't there for a session?
Oh, yeah, my GM kind of did that because I picked up a spider and put it in my pocket because I really liked it, and then I couldn't come back for the second half of that session that day after lunch or something, so my leg got blown off because the GM's like, well... She's not here. Gonna blow up the leg, and the leg went. That was not fun. Actually, my team came in clutch for that moment. They're like, come on, man, you can't blow off both of her legs. Only blow off one. She's not even here to defend herself.
Just blow off one leg. Be a decent human being.
Oh, my God. But I think just the characters was the worst part overall for that. But the best part was the story. They'll really know, if they ever listen to this, they'll really know who this is or who they are.
You should send it to them.
Okay.
Just send them this podcast of you just kind of politely ragging on them.
I mean, this thing is, they have grown. I will give them that. They have definitely grown.
Everyone's cringy at some point in their life.
Usually the first time they play D&D, it's kind of a low-key therapy session.
Not me, though.
Yeah. You didn't get a chance to be cringy yet. Yeah. You're going to have that soon. Very soon. Best part, though, was the way they snuck into a chapel. The rest of us were I don't remember if we were sneaking in, if we were captured, I don't know. But our rogue, and I don't even know what the other person was playing. I'll think a multi-class or something. They snuck into a chapel to fight some people by going through the sewer. And what they did was they climbed through the sewer, went underneath the chapel, crawled up through a toilet, and they had to roll for luck because it was just holes in the ground. Was the toilet.
Yeah, of course.
They had to roll for luck to see if anyone was in the bathroom. Of course they rolled like there was like 2 people. So they instantly killed them. And we're like, oh no, we have to hide the bodies.
Oh, they just wanted to pee. Come on.
So they
Says the guy who also aided the murder of people in a religious building recently.
You had no control over that situation.
I really didn't. I just told him to destroy the bells, man. That's all I said.
And of course he decided to do the one thing that would take the whole tower down around it.
God. Anyways, continue, my friend.
No, it's so good. We should definitely talk about that.
We have.
We should definitely talk. No, I mean, we should have an intervention with him and be like,
He's going to listen to this, you know.
you killed so many people.
Literally, if y'all had just marred, I specifically said there was a bunch of script on the outside of the bell. If y'all had just marred that script, it would no longer have functioned. All you had to do was scratch it.
Oh, man.
No, it's too late.
It doesn't matter now.
The bells are melted slag.
Well, you couldn't have really just scratched the second one, but the first one.
Yeah, he had a free shot at the first bell. At the second bell. They didn't throw up the shield until after he fired the fireball.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, because that's how you kill a golem. You erase the E off its forehead.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a golem.
Mess up the runes.
Yeah, because it spells E-meth on its forehead, and if you erase the E, then it says meth, which means death, and then the golem dies.
That is so ingenious.
Yeah.
I love that.
Anyways.
Yeah, so they
Folklore.
They killed the 2 priesty guys and put them in the sewer by shoving them through the poop holes.
Oh, God.
And then during this, actually before they did that, they took off the robes of one so they could disguise themselves. While they're doing that, another person came in. They had to kill him, put him down the sewer. A 4th person came in. I think that's when it finally ended because they would stop rolling bad. No, yeah, it was 4. It was 4.
Oh, my goodness.
And I mean, like, they killed so many people, and they're like, guys, we gotta get out of here. I don't know how we're gonna, like, get through this, because we smell like sewer. Actually, one of them changed, but they were covered in blood, so it was like, you're covered in blood or you smell like sewer.
I was just thinking that. Wouldn't the robes be covered in blood? I was just thinking that.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry, there was plenty of thought put into this. So, the one person's like, oh, I know exactly how we're gonna get out of this. So, in the bloodied robes, leaves the other person in there, runs out of the bathroom, and just starts screaming just at the top of his lungs and pointing at the bathroom as like a, throw the people, like, see if he could, I don't know, deception roll that. And so they all were like, oh my gosh, you must be a priest, what's happened? And all he would do is scream, so they would all run into the bathroom. And he just
For the fighter to murk him.
Oh, no.
And I think he just, like, went through the chapel screaming, so they all went to the bathroom, and he ended up, like, getting to where we were, like, saving us, letting us in. I don't even remember. I just remember that. And that is the most epic story, I feel like, from that campaign.
Murking their way through a chapel 2 or 3 monks at a time.
Yeah. It was brutal. I loved it, though. It was great. But yeah, that's my first session was, or my first story was that. So, you should go now. I feel bad for talking the whole time.
Why?
Because I feel bad talking a lot. I feel bad.
Okay, well, my first time playing Dungeons & Dragons was in this Dungeons & Dragons club at high school. Mm-hmm. But it was a really rural southern United States high school, so it couldn't be an official club because too many parents would think it was demonic and demand. Because so the principal was like, I don't care, you guys can play whatever, it's just a game, but we can't have it become an official club because parents will get mad. So we never got official club status or funding or anything.
This is the same rural town that tried to get Harry Potter banned from the public library and the school libraries because of witches. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the thing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, it was kind of actually really smart of our principal to not make it a club. But we kind of all just started with pre-made characters that you could print off, and we just got to pick which pre-made one we wanted because There were a few of us. There were 5 of us starting out. One of them I have permission to use his name. It was me, my boy Steven, and then there were 2 brothers and a lady, ooh la la, and we were kind of the starting group for D&D Club. And we went all 4 years, and only 2 of us had characters that didn't die. My half-elf cleric never died, and he's still an NPC in Steven's campaigns to this very day.
That's awesome.
that.
Yeah, he's now he gives out quests instead of going on them because he's so powerful. He's like the max level half-elf cleric. And then another friend, one of the brothers, he had a dragonborn paladin. Exactly what you told me I couldn't be earlier, and he survived the whole time because he was a real kind of humble, chill guy, so he never tried to pull any antics that would get him killed.
Because Dragonborn players always try to pull antics.
Yeah, but he didn't do that. He just picked Dragonborn because he was like, big scaly boy. That looks cool. The image on that looks cool. And I just picked Half-Elf Cleric. I don't remember why, but I did.
Biting the healer bullet.
I'm also the type of person that often picks things last because I don't care. But I ended up being pretty good at it. And I was needed for that party. Oh, Lord. They needed my Healy powers. Because people died constantly. Like, constantly. You know, we had a pretty good DM. They were our history teacher. Probably best history teacher I've ever had. They were our DM, which was really fun. And I kind of want to save some stuff for the episode where we talk about funny stories. Because I don't have that much to tell. Because it was 4 years of, like, playing every week, except for when I was in band. And then I let Steven play for me. He was the only one allowed to play for me. He was the only one I trusted to play for me.
He was the only other person to survive. I get that.
No, he wasn't the one with the Dragonborn Paladin. He was just one who actually knew how to play and knew what to do.
Okay.
If his characters died, it would be just because they did.
Dice.
We had one guy, one of the brothers always tried to kind of show off, and his characters would die almost every week. Like, because he would always end up doing something he shouldn't. And our DM would always make us, if you died, you started back at level 1 no matter where you were in the campaign.
That didn't help his survival rate in the back half, did it?
No, it did not. So some of us were like level 10. Oop, I rolled a dice on accident. Some of us were like level 10 and others were like level 2. But it was kind of interesting to do it that way because you really had to protect certain people and play a different way than you normally would. But also you don't want to give someone like 10 levels right at the beginning of their character either, because then they can't really learn all their stuff right away, I guess.
I feel like you're looking at me on that one.
No, 5 wasn't too much. If Big Boy Chungus and I had already had plenty of experience, I think 5 would have been fine to start at. But I needed to relearn how to play, and he needed to learn how to play, and I think
it was a little bit much.
And I think level 1 would have just been easier for everybody.
Yeah.
But that's the only complaint I have about your campaign, and out of literally everything, 1 complaint, and it's barely one at that, so...
I'll take that I appreciate that.
Yeah. At least I'm being honest with you.
Hey, you can give me all the constructive criticism. I actually asked Karen for constructive criticism after each of our sessions, because she spent a lot more time GMing
If
and
you're going
playing.
to be a GM, I mean, I think you got to be open to constructive criticisms and, like, be like, hey, maybe think about this. I mean,
I've never GM'd.
one day.
Maybe.
I think you'd have a lot of fun with it.
I
The
think
storytelling aspect is great.
I think I'd be good at it.
I know you would be.
I think I'd just rather play, to be honest. But, so we would always do that. And eventually, by the time I was a senior, it had grown, so there were, like, multiple campaigns going on in the room at once. I don't think we ever had more than 2 campaigns going on at a time. Because it was, like, all the seniors at one table who'd been playing for 4 years and had their characters, and then it'd be, like, the freshmen at the other table who
Aww.
didn't have an experience at DM, so they were kind of just goofing off, basically.
And they're freshmen, so they're stupid anyways.
Yeah. But eventually that character of mine got so powerful that we like didn't even have to fight undead stuff anymore. Because like, I would just walk into a room and any undead thing within like 5 squares was just incinerated. It was insane.
Cool.
Yeah, I had this like sun sword. Vampires couldn't even get near me. And I had this like aura, this divine aura, and it was wild. It was Gucci Gang. It was YOLO.
What was his name?
Spock.
Spock?
Because he was half elf, like half Vulcan, because he had the pointed ears.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Spock, the half elf cleric.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I was big into Star Trek when we started playing. Still am, but I was like really big into Star Trek in high school.
That and Doctor Who.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, your story was so much more concise and well.
That's because I didn't have. That's because I couldn't remember as many details.
I remember too many details from that. Ugh.
I wish I could forget.
I mean, out of that came some of my favorite aspects of, like, you know, home brewing. But at the same time, I don't use them because everyone else, whenever I'm like, oh, we should incorporate this, they're like, no, that's a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. The only good thing that I think Kami was actually okay with was the fate points that came out of that. Because our GM's just like, here's 3 fate points. If you, like, roll a crit fail or want to retry something, you can expend 1. And that was, like, really cool because a lot of us, that was our first time really playing.
Yeah, and you get fate points for, like, good character moments, right?
I think he had us, after a couple of sessions, we could roll a d4 to re-accumulate. Because I don't think he gave us any for good GMing. I think that was a Kami.
Yeah, that's the way your hubby does it.
Yeah, I modified
Chubby.
that rule to kind of try and be a reward for good player moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. It shouldn't be something you start off with, I feel like.
I think he did it because we were all just so new at it. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, new. Sure. Sure.
Also, I mean, we were incorporating new people. It kind of sounds like your group, actually, where we were incorporating, like, new people, the freshmen, but they would just join ours and stuff. And then some people would drop out because life got in the way, of course.
Well, we had one freshman who was really racist, and I think that the GM didn't want to deal with him. So he was like, freshman in another group.
Oh my god.
Pick a DM. One of the theater kids was a DM,
Sink or
I think.
swim.
Yeah, he was awful to play with. He was this kid in high school who would, like, bully everybody, but if you stood up to him, he'd report you for bullying him.
What?
Yeah. And he'd steal a lot. He'd steal from people. So you had to keep an eye on him.
We're going to have to talk about this later, because I don't know who this is.
You wouldn't know him.
Okay.
He was, as I said, like several grades below me. Little turd.
Moving on with D&D.
I hope he listens to this. You know who you are, you little turd.
Oh my god.
All right, I'm going to pass it off to you, Carmen. You tell me about yours.
So mine was a kind of weird one because we only ever played like one session, but I had wanted to play D&D for years and years. I bought the 3.5 books back in middle school.
After we went to camp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody would ever play with me though, so I had the books. I had the 3.5 books by my bed, and I would like read them at night. I knew all the rules and everything about it, but I didn't get a group for, I mean, it was 10 years before I could first play D&D, and it was with Karen over here, who was my GM.
Oh, I didn't know she popped your D&D cherry.
She did. So it was, and I was kind of a closet nerd for most of my life. And then when you said D&D, I was like, you play D&D?
You were ready. You were salivating. You were like marriage time.
Yes. Put a ring on that.
And you did.
I did.
Yay.
Best decision I ever made.
Oh.
No, the playing D&D, not the marriage part. Marriage has been crazy.
Marriage is terrible.
But so we played with her roommate and one of her guy friends who had a huge crush on her at the time. He hated my guts.
We're not going to talk about that in the podcast.
I did not know that, and that makes me feel great.
We're not naming anything, but it was part of why the first session was so weird. And we played it in Karen's dorm room with her roommate and this guy who liked her and hated my guts.
It was the 3 of them, my first time GMing.
Mm-hmm.
Did his character take it out on you? I have to know.
His character was absolutely as incompetent and as impotent as the actual human being was.
Jeez! That's hard.
I'm not a fan of this person.
The audio spike when we were like, oh, because that looks like a big trilobite.
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm not a fan of this human being because of some stuff that happened later. We were no longer friends.
A little jealous.
Within about a month and a half of this. Because
a lot of
some...
stuff happened. It's college. College ruins
College
people.
is for drama.
Exactly.
Yeah. Ruins people, makes people. It does everything. Anyways,
It ruins me.
let's talk about D&D.
Yeah.
Continue.
So we were playing in her dorm room, and we all just rolled up characters, and because of my many years of looking at the rules and knowing these things, I was able to kind of push, and she was willing to let me do whatever the heck I wanted, so I ended up playing a Lancer, which is a fighter variant, and it subtracts some of the abilities of fighter, but it adds anytime you're mounted on a creature, you get crazy bonuses. And there was another thing in the Monster Manual rulebook stuff where I could get a hawk large enough to ride. So I was this broken freaking character.
I think I started you guys at like level 3 or 5 or something.
3.
Okay, 3.
Enough to get some power so we wouldn't die at the first brush of, like, combat.
I also wanted to throw some more powerful stuff at them. I didn't want to just be like, here's the kobold.
Little red lizard boy.
Yeah.
And that's where my history of rolling Jesus stats begins.
That's true.
I had, like, you were watching over my shoulder the whole time, and I just rolled up character. I don't think I had a stat below 15 to start the game.
Yeah, we both just rolled some more Jesus stats.
Yeah.
But the worst part is I roll, and I've always done this, I roll Jesus stats in character creation, and then once the game starts, I will not roll a d20 above a 10. So, like...
It's nature's way of balancing you.
Exactly. So I continued to fail epically. Like, the first combat, I think I threw my sword through a window on, like, a triple crit fail. I mean, it was just 1, 1, and 1. And you were like, I have to punish you. You throw your sword through the window. You're now unarmed.
It's like when golfers go to swing hard and they lose their club.
Exactly that. But if the hawk was operating independently of me, the hawk was rolling crit, like, successes each time.
It would not, like, roll below a 15 for an attack. It was insane.
Like us last game.
Yeah.
Like our last game.
Yeah.
Which you should listen to. Check out D&D Campaign Part 3 on the podcast.
It was really awesome.
Yes.
So yeah, that was my first D&D session. We played like 2 sessions, I think.
Yeah, because the first session was you guys just, like, figuring things out, and then the second session was with the panther that my roommate was like, I don't want to kill this panther, I'm going to give it to a farm lady. It was the sweetest thing.
She adopted a panther and then
It probably
gave it to
killed
the...
all her farm animals.
No, that's the thing, that was the best part, was my roommate was like, I'm not leaving until I animal handle this into a peaceful relationship.
Just domesticate it.
Yeah, and so she, like, spent, like,
a week.
Not even, like, because she rolled, like, a 20 on, like, if this panther and the old woman's dog got along, so they would, like, patrol the farm. It was the cutest thing. She was, because my roommate is, like, my roommate was, because I don't live with her anymore. She was so sweet, though, about the whole D&D thing, because she's like, oh, I want to make sure the old lady's okay. Not like, the old lady gave us a quest, let's go do the quest. She would, like, sit there and, like, talk to the woman and, like, be helpful. It was the cutest thing.
Most people turn into sociopaths when they play D&D.
Yeah.
So it's nice to know that there was a wholesome player out there.
She got even nicer the more she played D&D, because in reality, she probably would have shivved you in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah. But she's like, I want to make sure the panther gets along. I'm going to check on the old lady. I want to do that. And she,
Bring
like...
her a fruit basket.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, fruit. Fruit in that D&D was actually painful.
Oh, God.
We can get to that later.
Yeah, but I like all of our first stories. They're all kind of different.
You kind of took his over.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, she was the GM for that. It makes more sense for her to talk.
Well, you guys worked together for it, so.
Yeah.
So it was your first GMing story and my first playing story.
Yeah.
And your first GMing story is our current story. Except for the one...
I've GM'd a couple of times before, but
Tell us about your first GMing story.
My first GMing story was actually with Karen as a player, and another friend of mine, the redheaded giant himself. I don't have his permission to say his name, so
I know who you're talking
about. The redheaded
Call
giant.
him Paul Bunyan.
Paul Bunyan, there we go.
I think I know who you're talking about.
You do. You've met him.
Yeah.
So it was with Paul Bunyan and Karen, and it was just this generic fantasy world I wanted to play in, a classic, D&D fantasy world, and he played... It was like an elf or a half-elf, I can't remember, and you were a nymph, because 3.5 would let you do that.
Nymph is best character race.
But as part of if you check the Monster Manual description, nymphs are so beautiful that their charisma modifier actually gets applied to their armor class, because people can't bring themselves to mar such...
Are those the ones that can't touch metal? Or...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because she was straight fae, and fae... There's something about it.
Can't touch metal, but also gives you some advantages against spells and charming. It's a whole big thing, but...
Yeah.
So you were playing, and you described it as the ugliest nymph that ever lived, but that was still, like, 10 times more attractive than any other mortal creature that had ever, like, drawn breath.
That's fantastic.
So,
I adore that.
I nerfed your... The reason was I had to nerf your charisma, because I couldn't have you running around with, like, a 9 charisma added to your armor class. So I capped you at, like, a 5 charisma.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I love that.
But y'all's first encounter, y'all burned down a forest.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. A nymph helped burn down a forest?
Well, we were getting chased by a bullet.
What? That raises more questions for me.
Well, so actually it was Paul Bunyan's character is the one who burned down the forest, and your character's motivation after that was to gather enough wealth and resources to go replant the forest.
Yeah, because I felt so
You
bad.
burned down a whole forest to evade a bullet?
And a bandit crew. Like,
I'm so confused, and I love that I can be. It's
y'all were like level 1 or 2 though. I did not start y'all high at all.
I think we were level. I think we were level 3.
I don't think you guys were level 3. I thought I capped you at 2 before.
Oh, maybe.
Because this was 3.5.
That's right.
There was no reason to start at 3.
I guess I can't criticize you guys for that, because we recently did commit mass murder to clear our names for a single murder, so...
Now, and like you
yeah.
said, you weren't the one who started the fire. It was Paul Bunyan.
Did.
No, Paul, you were the one who had the jars of oil. And
Oil!
Paul
Sorry.
Bunyan said, "Give me the jars of oil," and you just kind of went along with it. And then he lit the forest on fire.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Because your motivation afterward was to go replant the forest that he destroyed.
Needless to say, I never played another nymph because you wouldn't let me because it was so broken.
Well, that was also when we transitioned from 3.5 to 5.
I still want to play
after
it.
that
the nymph
campaign.
is the best class. Like, that charisma is it's beautiful.
But we played maybe 3 sessions of that, 4 sessions of that maybe.
Yeah.
Paul Bunyan's character decided to backtalk a deity, like an actual physical manifestation of a deity has appeared in front of you.
We're level 5 maybe.
Yeah, you told me about that, yeah.
And
you can tell the audience,
as
assuming we have one.
As a first-time GM, I kind of let him get away with it. Nowadays, if somebody did that in one of my campaigns, I would absolutely have the god unmake you at, like, a molecular level.
I would.
That was absolutely a bad decision on my part to let him get away with it.
It's like, I don't know if anyone listening to this listens to the Power Rangers Hyperforce RPG podcast. It's a live Power Rangers role-playing podcast that's in continuity with Power Rangers, the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like real actors playing it and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Like when a Power Ranger shows up, it's their actor playing the game.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. But there was this one time where one of the Rangers charged the main villain of the entire show, quote unquote, and he just got smacked to the ground, almost died. Seriously, his character almost died. The DM for that game was like, "This is the main villain. You're gonna just charge him by yourself?" He's like, "Yeah." And I was like, they gave him 3 chances to take it back, and they were like, "I gotta do what I'm getting paid to do." So he was in a coma for the next 2 episodes of the show. It was so funny.
Jeez.
Oh. See, I agree. I think next, but that's what GMing's all about, is learning the pain of your original GM.
The first time you GM, it never goes well, and part of it is you need to have enough confidence in your own decision making and in the rules to play it straight.
Which I think is why I don't really.
Chungus needs to wait a little bit before he can GM. He needs to get a little bit more experience, because that confidence and the ability to improv off the cuff is mandatory, and you have to have just enough experience to pull from to get away with it and make it work.
Everyone should play just as a character for a while before they DM. Mm-hmm. I know, when the game was created, there were people that had to go straight into DM, but these days nobody should go straight into DM.
They bit that bullet for us.
Yeah. Thank you, people from the 80s.
Yeah.
Too bad no one from the 80s is alive today.
Are you okay?
I'm saluting right now.
With his left hand.
Yeah, wrong hand. I got a dice in the other hand, and what was I supposed to do? Swap hands? No,
of course not.
Of course not.
But that's also where we get the one high holy Thakwa.
Oh, yeah.
What?
So,
This is just all the first time stories of
Karen,
everything.
do you want to tell the Thakwa story?
Well, okay, I guess I can. I feel like I've talked a lot, though. I feel bad that I've talked so much this...
I told you guys before we started, you guys were going to talk the most, so...
Okay, well, I guess I'll tell the story of the one High Holy Thakwa, which is beautiful.
I'm
Just
excited.
beautiful.
I'm going to get all cozy.
So, being a nymph character who, you know, I was naturally good with animals.
You were also playing a druid.
I added druid as my class, so I was like triply good with animals.
Wow.
Like any kind of creature with any intelligence above like a 6, like I had like a deep connection with.
Big old nature boy.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you was a boy.
Oh, I was a girl actually.
Oh, really? You usually play as a boy, don't you?
My first character I played as a boy because everyone else in the party was a girl until we started adding people. So
Ironically, you were the only female at the table.
I was the only female at the table for my first session. But I was the only one to play a male character.
Wild.
I don't, whatever. I don't even remember what my,
Waka.
So anyways, the one High Holy Thakwa. So, we were in a cave.
An elven crypt.
Yeah, we were in an elven crypt with Paul Bunyan. And, they were like doing a sort of ceremony to imbue this ancient, right?
No, you guys were in an empty crypt that had been untouched for like millennia.
I thought there was someone with like, didn't we bring someone down there to imbue the
Y'all were looking for an artifact.
Yeah, didn't the sun? I don't remember then. I just remember the High Holy Thakwa where I sat there for a turn trying to summon like animal companions, and I rolled a 20. And so the next turn, a Thakwa, which is like a worm that's like molten.
It's like a 3-meter long worm that superheats its head to melt its way through rock.
I think I've seen a mini of one before.
They're so cool. So this little boyo.
Y'all woke up a Hydra.
Yeah, we woke up a Hydra because we were looking for this artifact. But didn't the artifact have like the essence of like a hero in it?
Yeah, the artifact is haunted.
Okay, so
Heart of a hero.
I'm holding out for a hero.
Oh my
Continue,
gosh.
my friend.
An ancient dead elven king.
Yeah, exactly
Spirit
that.
is imbued into this sword.
Oh, like in King Kong the Animated Series.
That, yes.
Yeah.
You guys don't know what I'm talking
I
about.
do, actually.
Oh.
When the kings took over the two peoples, and because Kong and the Atlantis,
What?
whatever.
I know what you're talking about. I remember that show.
Continue,
Anyways,
my friend.
calling animal companion, rolled a 20. Thakwa melted its way through the ceiling into the Hydra.
Did crit damage on its, like, initial attack.
Yeah.
Took a head off of the Hydra.
And the Thakwa was just like, it came in and started wrecking this Hydra. I think it ended up dying, didn't it?
No, the Thakwa lived.
I think it was like at
Yes.
the very end of its...
No, Paul Bunyan's character was at the end of his rope.
Oh, that's it.
Because he was a dual-wielding ranger who charged straight in at a Hydra with, like, 8 heads.
When you say dual-wielding ranger, I imagine like a bow in each hand pulling him back with his teeth.
Hysterical, I want that now. But yeah.
That's what you need to play in Big Boy Chungus' campaign.
Okay.
Just 2.
Doing.
He's gonna, if I actually end up playing that, you know, unless you guys are like, no, we're never playing with them again, I'm probably gonna give him the hardest time because I'm just so bad at playing.
Oh, we love you guys. We want to play with you guys forever.
Aww.
I'm glad we have, like, a consistent group. I've missed
Yeah,
D&D.
it's
like playing
nice
with you
having a
guys.
nice, small, consistent adult friend group, just period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
I mean,
being an adult sucks.
because no one wants to play D&D anymore. They live in a different state.
I'm about to lose my health insurance.
Do you want to talk about this?
No. Let's talk about happy things, like big worm boys.
Yeah, I mean, we were gonna die without the Thakwa. We were straight up gonna die, and then it just descended from the heavens and saved us.
I love it. I adore it.
So, Thakwa Jesus.
Yeah.
Someone animate that for me. I imagine him.
Awesome.
I imagine him with really tiny little angel wings that could never make him fly, but they're there anyways.
Looks like a Dunsparce.
Yeah.
Aw.
Or like in Bug's Life when he hatches and he has his little
I was
butterfly
just
wings.
thinking
Yeah,
that.
that's what I imagine the worm is like.
I didn't want to
But
say
little
it. And
angel
sound
wings.
nerdy.
Well, good thing you didn't say it, because now I get credit for the joke.
Yeah, exactly. I was like literally thinking it. You said it. I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you, Thakwa Jesus.
He's looking out for you.
Oh, to this day. I love Thakwas to this day because of that whole thing. I wanted him to stay with us, but he was there and gone.
I also imagine he's purple.
You know?
Kind of brownish greenish mottled.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was ever
There's this worm mini you can get in like this big creature set that's like purple. So that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you've seen that set.
Yeah.
It's a pretty basic
I'm going
set.
to talk about so many stories, but I'll
We will save them for the story podcast.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Because you
We're
brought
already
up
at the
worms.
40-minute mark.
Hey, that's good though.
That's good though. As long as it's over 30 minutes, I don't care how long the podcast is.
We could probably break it off here though and subdivide into a couple other.
Because you brought up worm creatures, and I have plenty of worm creature stories about D&D.
What a weird niche stories to have, all about worms.
Considering some of the people in your previous groups
Were worms.
Worms and things with tentacles don't surprise me.
Oh no, let's stop. So that's it, everyone. Thank you all very much for supporting us. Please remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts so that we can get more support. What's next? What's the next episode going to be about? What's your idea for it? Just story time? D&D story time?
Fun encounters, lessons we've learned. I kind of want to hear about what you think of like GMing, honestly.
Okay, yeah, we'll get into. We can do a whole episode just about GMing, but the next episode will still be Dungeons and Dragons. We're probably going to have like a little Dungeons and Dragons marathon sponsored by the coronavirus.
We're currently quarantined, locked in a basement.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be insensitive. It's just literally the only thing anyone's talking about. Luckily, we're all introverts and we're home anyways.
Yay!
My uncle has it.
Oh,
He actually does. So
Yeah.
quarantine basement.
yeah, he is quarantined.
Thoughts and
But-
prayers, right?
Yeah. So that's it. Thank you all once again for your support, and join us next time when fate
Yes.
knocks at your door.